Hello vinyl record collectors. Today I'd like to talk about two artists. Well, in this video I'll do one and I'll do a separate video for the other artists. And when you speak of the British invasion of the 60s, obviously the first group that comes to mind is the Beatles. The second group is probably the Rolling Stones. And after that, possibly the Kinks and a number of other groups. But two individuals that rarely come to mind who were two very successful artists in the 60s in North America were Petula Clark and Dusty Springfield. So in this video I would like to take a look at Petula Clark. Now Petula Clark was born in 1932. Her name is actually Sally Clark. And she got her break into the music business in a bit of an unusual way. When she was 9 years old, in 1942, she was at a BBC, a radio session in a theater. And during the session, a bombing raid occurred. And obviously the people in the theater were very nervous. And the people at the BBC asked if there was anybody who would like to come up and perhaps entertain the crowd to relieve their nerves during the bomb raid. So 9-year-old Petula Clark volunteered, got up on stage and sang a song. The BBC was so impressed that she ended up doing 500 spots for the BBC radio during the war. Also during the war, her and Julie Andrews would tour the bases in England to entertain the troops. Of course, Julie Andrews, as everyone knows, went on to become a famous actress. One of the big roles, of course, was in Sound of Music. So in 1957, Petula Clark was over in Paris performing at a nightclub. By the way, Petula Clark was absolutely fluent in French as well as in English. She spent quite a deal of time in France. And during 1957, representatives of the Vogue label heard her sing and signed her up. Consequently, she started releasing records in France during the 50s. Eventually, she was picked up by Pi Records in England and started releasing records in England in the early 60s. And by 1964, with the release, of course, of the single most people know, Downtown, which became a super international hit all around the world, that sort of really kick-started her career, and she became a big star throughout the 60s. A couple things of note. She appeared on many shows in the United States, and one of the shows she did was like her own special. She had Harry Belafonte on, and they were singing one of her songs, On the Path of Glory, which was an anti-war song. And during the singing of that song, Petula Clark touched Harry Belafonte on the arm. It turned out this was the very first time that a white woman had touched a black man on television in the United States. The sponsors, Chrysler, freaked out, but the program aired anyway and was a hit on the television network. One other thing, as well as doing singing, she also appeared in movies. She was an actress. In 1968, she appeared in Finnegan's Rainbow with Fred Astaire. And once again, she sort of set history there. She ended up becoming the last on-screen dance partner for Fred Astaire. And in 1969, she did the movie Goodbye Mr. Chips with Peter O'Toole. So now if we start looking at her music, she started recording records very early in the 50s. A lot of it was in French, and she eventually started doing English work. If you want some of her very early stuff, you'll find it on this CD here. Now on this CD, you will not hear songs like Downtown, Don't Sleep in the Subway, Color My World. This is very early stuff she would have recorded when she was a teenager. I mean, some of the songs on here, for example, might be like Tuna Puma Trinidad, or Put Your Shoes on Lucy, things like that. Hits probably from the 40s. during the war. Now we start looking at some of the vinyl records that she released in the United States primarily. So as I indicated that she was signed to Pi Records in the United States. Now if you had ever watched my Donovan video, I mentioned in there where artists on the Pi label tended to get distributed on Warner Brothers in the United States. In the case of Donovan, of course, he went and signed with Epic Records, which freaked out a lot of people in Pi, the record company, causing sort of a disjoint between Donovan and Pi for a while. So Petula Clark is on the Warner Brothers label. Of course, this is the album that really kicked off her international career with the big hit Downtown.
When you're alone and life is making you
this finished number 21 on the charts in the US, the album. The single sold millions. This is the mono copy. Actually, the price tag is still on for Eaton. It's $3.49. This is the stereo copy. This is the stereo here. Exactly the same record. And next one, I Know a Place, 1965, 42 on the charts. International hits, 129 on the US charts. This is 1965. 1966, My Love. Here is the Vogue pressing, My Love. So this is a French pressing, the old flip back covers, same songs. I Couldn't Live Without Your Love, 1966, number 43 on the charts. Charted much higher in the UK, I think it charted 11. Color of My World, 49 US charts, 16 in the UK charts. It's 1967. You can see I bought this as a steel seal at a flea market. These are my songs, 1967, 27 on the US charts, 38 on the UK charts. I think this is the Vogue. It doesn't translate exactly the same, but it's my song. These are my songs. Once again, flip back cover. French pressing. The Other Man's Grass Is Always Greener, 1968, 93 US charts, 37 UK charts. By this point, I start becoming less interested in music. She started doing a lot of cover tunes, and I sort of don't listen too much to her later stuff. This one is Petula, 1968, 51 US charts. This one here, Portrait of Petula, 37 US charts. Later in the late 60s, she was doing a lot of Beatles songs. I don't get to find out her albums. Just Pet. Pet was what she was referred to in England rather than Petula. 176 on the US charts. Hey Jude is on this one. The Fool on the Hill. Like I said, a lot of Beatles hits. Don't know the year of this one. This was on Crescendo, not Warner Brothers, live at Royal Albert Hall. She does some of her hits there, like Downtown, Don't Sleep in the Subway. It might be a bit of a melody rather than the full song. She does one, Call Me. I don't know if that's the same one Blondie ended up doing. And with like any individual who put out a ton of music, there's lots of compilations, and here's just an example on the old K-Tel stuff, 20 Greatest Hits. Don't know when that came out, probably in the early 80s. If you want to see Petula on video, she hosted the Hullabaloo TV show back in '65 several times. I think she made something like 4 appearances on this series. And so if you can find a Hullabaloo, there's multiple discs. I think there's 3. This is volumes 5 through 8 on this one. But Petula Clark is on the Hullabaloo TV show. So also, she was on Shindig, I think, for 2 episodes. Yeah, I've got the 30 disc set, but I don't see her being mentioned. So I don't know if her segment got cut or wasn't available, master tapes or whatever. But she was also on Shindig. Both these, just in general, Hullabaloo and Shindig, if you're really into 60s music, these are fantastic DVDs to pick up. You see a lot of artists who, especially the British Invasion, like on, I think it's Shindig, the Kinks, the first North American appearance. Nobody knew who they were. They were the opening act. So that's my video on Petula Clark. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.